Cryptid Wilderness Research. My name is Daniel Becker, here from Anchorage, Alaska. Joining me, as always, from Quincy, Washington, Matt Slater.
Hello.
Our other co-host, Paul Ayotte, couldn't be with us tonight. He is under the weather, so we wish him the best. Joining us tonight, Bigfoot researcher, documentary star, UFO researcher, and from her own website, paranormalempowerment.com. Joining us again, Miss Robin Haynes. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be back. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you so much. So you are coming off the heels, sorry, Matt. You are coming off the heels of the Nebraska Bigfoot conference. Why don't we open there and just tell us about the conference, tell us about the speakers, what the experience was, and all that great stuff that occurred.
It was fantastic. I think it was one of our best conferences ever. I'm the assistant manager for the conference. We've got an amazing team. There's Harry McFeely's the owner. We have Diane Doobie that does like our social media and flyers, and we have Tamara Steer. She does our website. We have Forrest Simpson, poor Forrest, we run him everywhere. So we've just got a really, really good team in place, and we work well together. We have a lot of respect for each other. Like I said, I'm the assistant manager for it, and we had some great people. We really did. We had Dave Scott, who I adore, Rob Kreider, Duke Sullivan was there, Blaine Tyler was there, I was there, Christian McLeod was there, Jim Myers was there. I'm trying to remember everybody. Ron Myers and Alan McGargle, our filmmakers, they were there. It just went well. Like we just had, if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry, you guys. But they were tremendous. Everybody really gets along well. You know, we didn't have anybody, slinging mud at the other ones. And all these people just have a huge amount of information to share. And they were very gracious with the public as far as talking to them and interacting with them, putting the information out. We had Flash of Beauty there, and it was the paranormal one, so that was new. I hadn't seen the second one. I absolutely love the first one, my all-time favorite movie about Sasquatch. So Jill and Brett were there with that. Ron and Alan had their movie there as well. Duke Sullivan brought his latest movie that he's put out, so that was 3 of them, and it was all well received. Our vendors were top-notch. I mean, just had some great things there for swag for everybody, and it was just so much fun. A lot of work. At one point, I had been 48 hours without sleep. So there was a lot of work that went into that conference. I mean, I was like a walking zombie by the time it was over, but it was just so incredible. It really was. And the people that came to see it were just fantastic. Had a lot of great questions, very kind-hearted, loving people, open to the experience, open to learning. We ended up getting over 700 people throughout the course of the weekend. So it was pretty amazing.
That's fantastic. And
Nice.
It's our understanding that this conference has actually been growing over the last couple of years.
Every year. Yes. Every year we get more people, and we're getting our regulars that come every year, and we're thrilled with that. Plus we always have new people that are coming in. We have been very blessed that the guests that we have to speak have been tremendous every year. I've been doing this in my 4th year. I cannot remember having anybody that just wasn't on top of their game. Now, next year we have coming back is Rob Kreider. Dave Scott will come back. Christian McLeod will come back. Who else do we've got? We've got Dave, we've got Blaine, we've got Christian. Oh, yeah, Christian and Rob Kreider. And then we have Daryl Denton, which I'm really thrilled to add him to our team this year, or not team, but speaker list for next year. So it gets bigger every year. Everybody just has such a good vibe about it. I had people come up to me throughout the whole thing and just say, you know what, it's so warm and friendly here. Like we feel like we can ask questions and we can just relax and be us. And people are really receptive. Like we packed it in. We went to a bigger venue. We joined with the tourism department for Grand Island. And they had asked us to partner with them this year. It was our first year of leaving Hastings, Nebraska. So we went to Grand Island to Fauner Park. And it was a little daunting. We had more space, which is what we wanted. But now you have to fill said space. So that was a little nerve-wracking. And we filled every corner. It just was tremendous. It just flowed. So really no complaints about it. I was just absolutely thrilled to be a part of it. And the whole experience, I think, for everybody that came in the door was fantastic. And it was great to see. I was so excited. People that have watched the podcast, that all of our speakers have done, came. Like they actually came to see everybody. So that was a thrill. They, where they don't become just a name.
That's
so
excellent.
That was pretty incredible.
So as it's been growing in popularity, one of the things we talked recently, Duke Sullivan from World Bigfoot Central was on our last episode, and one of the things we talked about is that, I can tell you from my personal experience and my discussions with Matt and with Paul, and we had never even considered Nebraska as being a location where cryptids would be active. Tell us a little bit about the state of Nebraska and the cryptid activity there.
I'm not a person that has a lot of knowledge about Nebraska because I don't live there. But I will tell you this, I've yet to go to Nebraska and not seen one. And you've got Res Squatching is on they're about 4 hours away from where we're at, but obviously they have a ton of activity there. And then Hastings, they've had sightings of them there. And we've had encounters there. Duke filmed his movie in Nebraska. And it's just, people don't realize the Sasquatch are everywhere. There's nowhere they're not. People think because, well, it's really flat there, or there's not a lot of coverage there, they're not around, or they aren't going to go into the city. They do. They constantly do. They never cease to amaze me because everywhere you think they're not going to show up, they're there.
There they are.
Yeah, they're everywhere. So it's been nice because what I've noticed over the last 4 years is every year, when I first started attending it, it was a matter of people were curious, but you knew that they just didn't believe in what you were saying. Every year it gets more, oh gosh, this is really real. And we've got speakers that are showing proof and photos and, being able to give these experiences, and people are starting to identify with it. And it's becoming more accepted, which always warms my heart because, Daniel, like, as you know, I've been doing this for a long time since I was a kid. I've been protecting them. I've been spreading the word about them and telling the truth about them since I was, younger. And it's just, I'm very passionate about it. So to see people, it kind of like absorb into the brain, and people are going, okay, maybe there really is something to it. I don't expect everybody to believe it right off the bat, nor would I want them to. It's always good and healthy to question because there are hoaxers out there. I know when I lay my head down at night, God knows I haven't lied about a thing. So I'm good. And anybody that says anything different, I don't get offended. That's fine. They haven't had the experiences I've had. And while they're saying those things, I just go out in the backyard and interact with the Sasquatch. So it doesn't really, bother me at all. But it's so tremendous to me to see these people come every year. And every year they're a little bit more accepting. And I'm so grateful that they take the time out of their lives to give us time to present what we know, what we've experienced, and think of the possibility. That they're accepting that there is a possibility that there's something to this. I mean, millions and millions of people are not wrong. Are there people that hoax out there? Yeah, I could give you a list of them. I know I'm not one of them. I know the people that go to the conference are not one of them. They're thoroughly vetted, and they are just incredible. And we're so blessed that they come. We try to treat them well. Gosh knows that they treat us absolutely fantastic. And we just have a blast. It's so much work, but it's a labor of love. It's just fantastic.
And one of the things, you're saying more and more people are starting to believe, and, millions of people aren't wrong. And one of the things that I began to realize, listening to all the podcasts, watching the shows, and just listening to story after story after story after story on my own. And I'm, people I think are starting to come to grips with this idea that you listen to all these podcasts and shows, the people who are telling these stories don't know each other. They're all over the country. They're hundreds or thousands of miles apart, but they're all talking about the same thing. What they're describing, the activities, the noises, the way it looks, the behavior, it's the same thing everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah, and the thing of it is they are a human hybrid. The DNA has proven that. And, people still fight about that, and that's okay. I mean, I asked them before the DNA was ever done. I just simply asked them, and, they can speak English as well as their language and any other language they want. And so I was already well aware of what they were. So it wasn't a shock for me, but I can see where, it changes everybody's perimeters on what they thought was real and what wasn't. And it is a lot to accept. The thing about it is, though, you can't change the truth. I would love to be able to put it in this pretty little box with a bow on it and make it so that everybody out there could understand it and accept it, and it was easier. The problem is that's not reality. That's not the truth, and I refuse to lie about it. I'm just not going to do it. And, the world that we've always looked at and said, this is our world, never existed to begin with. We've been pigeonholed and held back by being told what is out there instead of us experiencing it and seeing it. And all these things, I've always been there. They're just now coming out, and people are having to accept them because what else are they going to do? There's encounters going on all the time. Yeah. And, that old saying of the truth will set you free is right there. And you get to the point, and I went through it because I've done this, I've been involved with them. They came to me when I was a toddler. I mean, little baby. And so I never knew that not everybody accepted them. That was a shock to me when I got in school. But I refused to lie about it. I was very cautious when I was a kid and as an adolescent of, don't tell anybody because you don't want to be made fun of. And, I was the resident weirdo. I didn't fit in anywhere because, everybody had their normal life. My life was never normal. I mean, I was being abducted by the ETs, and I was seeing the Sasquatch and the dogmen and cat people and interacting with them. And, then, here, let's do another abduction, and so my life was not what anybody would call normal. And I just didn't fit in. I didn't fit in anywhere. I wouldn't change it. I feel really blessed. If I could do my entire life over again, I wouldn't change a thing with them. Not for a minute, because I got to see a side of the world that nobody else did. I mean, there were people that did besides me, but I'm talking about the majority of people. And it's such a blessing. And now I work with people and I get to help educate people. I mean, I have literally the greatest job on planet Earth. I do. I meet these amazing people, and I'm honored and blessed that they allow me into their lives, and I get to teach them. And I just love it. So it's all a blessing. Has its moments. I've had kidnapping attempts and death threats, and, my car, the brakes lines were cut. And I've had creepy things come to my door and threaten me, and bank accounts frozen. And, there's a lot. It's not all rainbows and unicorns, but you decide what's important. And for me, this is it.
That's very powerful. Well, the question that I have for the show tonight for you, Robin, with this current high level of solar activity during this period, the total solar eclipse, the massive solar storms that are going on, the solar flares and the mass ejections, how is that interacting with the cryptid phenomenon here on Earth?
Parts. It really is. I mean, first off, we have to go back to the fact that we did the energy shift. The first energy shift was March 14th, which was a major shift. And basically what that was for, and the cryptids were heavily involved in it, as were some of our energy workers and light workers, and including myself. And what that was for is to try to bring us into a higher frequency. Okay. Most of our humans are at a much lower frequency than they should be. They're in like a 3D level. They need to be at much higher. I teach energy work and frequency work. And that's why when the cryptids started doing this, I was given the information from them that I was. And I'm sure there were hundreds of people besides myself. I'm nothing special, so I don't think I'm the only one. But in my case, I was a little bit more public with it and, upfront about it with everybody. And they were trying to shift the frequency of the earth. Our planet is dying, and it has to have a higher frequency if it's going to survive and rebuild itself. All of these beings, all of the cryptids are higher frequency and higher energy. Their frequency raises all the time. They're doing it with or without us. For us to stay in a 3D while they're at a higher puts it at an imbalance. This imbalance has a disaster effect on everybody, not just us, but them as well. So they went to go move this into a higher frequency. We have all these things going on our planet. We have the wars and people fighting and, money issues, and it's just a really bad time for everybody. But that was all a distraction. It was never the main problem. The main problem is the AI, and the AI was behind trying to keep the frequency lower. So that put everything into what they call the big battle. Okay, so the big battle is the whole good and evil thing on this planet, and everything is coming here to be a part of it. So that got the shift. I mean, those are just the very generic basis of it. That started the shift March 14th. Then you go to April 8th, which was supposed to be the eclipse, the big eclipse. Now, I am not a person that studies that kind of thing. I to say that I'm really well versed in it, I would never do that. That's not where my specialty lies. But the truth is, you can't have an eclipse in Pisces if the moon and the sun aren't in Pisces. And when you go to different channels that tell you where the moon and the sun are, they were never in the same place twice. Every channel had a different reading, which tells you there's something wrong. Again, you can't change the truth. If it's in Pisces, it's in Pisces. So now we're going to do this great shift. The Sasquatch were very concerned about it. They had a lot of concerns about it. They were meeting about it. People noticed that their clans had pulled back a little bit because they didn't know where they were. They were all working on what to do about the problem. Then you look at the videos after the eclipse. None of it made sense to me. Like, it just didn't make sense. In my personal opinion, which really doesn't mean a whole lot, but in my personal opinion, it was a fake eclipse. Now, there were rumors after the eclipse of the Germans had a machine of some kind that could create this false eclipse. People saw 2 moons. So, they're seeing 2 moons, and now we have this eclipse that is supposed to change all these things. Videos of the eclipse show UFOs from them. There was rumors that the government was going to be shooting weapons at it. Why would you do that if it's a normal eclipse? You wouldn't. There's no reason for it. I was in Texas. Yeah. Texas was covered with military. CERN was opened up at the same time, and then later it was recanted that CERN wasn't going to open up, and then surprise, it did. There's footage of what CERN allowed in. And then in the middle of all this, for whatever reason, the Sasquatch were upset about dragons, and the dragons were going to be released. And I'm thinking, what? And they're going, no, the dragons are sleeping in the earth, and now the dragons are going to be released. And by God, if there wasn't a video and there was a dragon on it. Was it AI? It could have been. To me, it didn't look like it was, but that doesn't mean it wasn't. There was a lot of crazy things that went on during that time. And I have a private group on Facebook that started with my clients, and then these tremendous people came forward and said, no, we all want to do this too. And so in our group, we talk about it quite a bit. Whatever went on with that. So you've got, CERN, which should never have been allowed to happen to begin with. You've got this, what I consider a fake eclipse. You have things coming out of said eclipse. You have 2 moons, and people are dizzy. They are emotional. They are weak. They are not feeling well. Some people absolutely didn't have anything, but there was more people that had issues during this time. Bad things were happening in their lives. It literally flipped everybody's world upside down. And we were pushing energy. I'm an energy worker, so we were pushing energy. My groups were, and I was training people in energy work more than I ever have in my life. And that seemed to balance it out. That with a lot of protein, a lot of extra fluids, and it was balancing it out. But then it turned around and it flipped again, because next energy wave, there's an energy wave that hit on the 8th on top of it. And at that point in time, more demonics were walking around on our planet than we've ever had before. So whatever went on with this so-called eclipse that I don't think is real brought out all of these things, and it woke up the dragons. So now we've got Sasquatch running around in a panic because now they claim that dragons are out. There were visuals of them, I'm telepathic, I mind speak. I was able to get something from that, and that was not overly pleasant, that in my opinion was a dragon. So there was that issue, and all of these things are piling up. So then you go from the 8th, and let's do it again on the 14th. And then let's do it again on the 15th. And every time we get another energy wave in. Now, the one on the 15th was supposed to be one that brought nothing but love and wonderful things with it. Okay, when you talk about frequency, the highest frequency comes from the heart, and the absolute highest frequency that there is love. It doesn't get any higher than that. So now all this love is coming in. It's supposed to be a higher frequency, and it's supposed to be great. That's wonderful. But when you get all the good stuff in, the bad stuff trails right on in and tries to shut it down. So now we've got more of the bad stuff, and everybody has to deal with that too. And you're talking about a huge amount of energy and a huge frequency boost that people just were not prepared for. And they're still riding the waves. They're doing better. I think it helps for everybody to talk about it, because people's reactions to things were not normal. And they were like, why are we so tired? Everybody is so tired because at the same time, all of these things are going on, because it wasn't enough, clearly. We get a geomagnetic storm. And that was very difficult. It felt like a lot of pressure. I'm an intuitive, I'm sensitive, I'm an empath. I do all this energy work, so I felt it really heavy. So did a lot of people. My phone has been ringing off the hook since March. And every time one of these things happens, it's overtime. And that's fine. I'm glad people reach out to me. I'm honored to be there for them and just talk them through it and ride that wave. So now you get these storms that are coming in. On top of the fact, solar flares, because we didn't have enough. So let's throw the solar flares in. And all of these things really do play with people's emotions. They play with your energy. Your energy can be, where you're running around and it can drop you like a stone the next. And that's what's going on with all of these things. You're looking at a combination of major things that normally do not happen together, and they certainly do not come in at the strength that they have. So what happens when you put that much power out in the atmosphere? You get the weather changes. We've got government has weather machines that are manipulating everything anyway. So now we're going to add all that, and we're going to put it into the storms. We're going to put it into the energy and the so-called eclipse. And we're at a very pivotal time. What I will say is this: everybody is concerned that it's the end times. According to all of the cryptids, according to the earth keepers. And it is not the end times. It is a global reset. They are resetting the energy and the frequency, on the planet, to try to save what's left of it, because we're just doing one hell of a job at demolishing it. Is it going to get bad? It's probably going to get really bad before it gets better. But from what I'm told, because I was like everybody else, is this the end times? And I've asked enough cryptids, and I feel that they were being honest with me. And I've talked to other paranormal sources, including the good ETs. And according to everything that's willing to talk to me, they've all said the same thing: global reset. It's just not end times. So we're not there yet. We have a chance to pull ourselves out of this if we would pull our heads out of our butts. Okay, the cryptids succeed and we fail for one reason: they work on a collective consciousness. We do not. We have multiple people, thousands of people that will work on a collective consciousness, that know the truth, that know the reality that's been hidden from everybody, and they're willing to do so. The majority of our people are out for themselves. It's, I'm going to take care of me, and you're over there in the left corner, and you're on your own. As long as I'm good, I'm happy. It doesn't work like that, folks. It just doesn't. Our bodies are a physical thing that needs food and rest. All they do is house our soul. Everything comes from the collective consciousness, from your soul, and from source. It just does. And we need to pull it into that collective consciousness in order to be able to save everybody. We've been given this golden opportunity that, okay, we're going to give you one more try here. Let's pull your heads out of your butt. We're going to up the frequency. We're going to up the energy. This is why the energy work is so, so important. Everything that you do, everything that you have, everything that you touch is energy based. I don't care if it's a Kleenex or a chair or a living, breathing animal or a person. It's all energy based. This is, I've worked with people on this for, oh my gosh, probably 40 years. And I recently turned it into the business, and I didn't start out that way, but that's where it ended. And I'm very blessed. It's going very well. And just teaching people, educating them on one of the many things that I do, just only one, is the energy work. And the difference that it makes in people's lives is astronomical. And there's literally not anybody that can't do it. Now, there are some people that have that as an ability, as a special gift that will go farther in it. Yes, absolutely. But everybody can do the basics in it. And it gives you clarity, calmness. It helps you reset your own world and what goes on around you to make it better. And when we pull it all together as a collective consciousness, there's nothing we can't do. Absolutely nothing, including save our world.
That's excellent. It's interesting to hear all the effects that these the eclipse and the solar flares and even CERN. I know there's a lot of people that have talked about what CERN is capable of. A lot of people are wary and very concerned about what it can do.
Well, the thing about CERN is we don't know how to control it. Why are we playing God? Like, I just don't get it. We can't even handle our world. So let's go out and mess up the universe. We've already screwed up our planet. We've screwed up our lives. So now we're going to go mess up the universe. Really? Like, there's nothing better that we could do with our time. We don't know how to control what they are going to allow in. We can't control the cryptids, which we shouldn't anyway, but we can't control the cryptids. We have no control over the ETs, the bad ones. Thankfully, there are some that are good that have helped, and that good ones have shut down CERN a couple times. And we can't control what's going on our planet. So why in the world would we think that we need to go up there, open up CERN, create a black hole, open portals, and do all of these things and let whatever the hell's out there into our atmosphere? We can't protect each other now. How are we going to protect each other from that? It's amazing to me, the audacity and the ego that's involved in these people that feel that this is a good idea.
It's fascinating how you brought CERN into this conversation in association with the solar eclipse and the recent atmospheric activities. So, since we're talking about CERN now, I've got to ask, in your opinion, are they deliberately bringing through evil entities through these,
in my opinion,
CERN-initiated portals?
In my opinion, yes. I can't go into the details as far as why. I mean, that would be a private conversation I'd be happy to have. Sure. But absolutely. Absolutely. And, they can say they're doing this for the greater good. There's no good that's going to come out of this. Work with our planet, save our people. Quit playing out in the cosmos with things that you don't understand. Let the people that do understand, the Galactic Federation, the people that are qualified for it. CERN should never have been allowed to happen. We were never meant to start opening doorways to places that we have no business being in. We are not at that level to be able to do it. And, I say this saying all the time, not only for myself, but other people. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And right. I really wish people would take that more at heart, because it's not about, they can do it. Congratulations, go have a cookie and have a good day. They can do it, yay. But there's a cause and effect for everything. Absolutely everything. If you drink a half a glass of milk, that means that later on, that's all you've got left is the half. The cause and effect is there, and it's real. And these people, the powers that be, I don't think they're paying for the cause and effect. It's the rest of us that are paying that cause and effect, and we don't have a choice in it. And it's just, I get so fired up, and I apologize, you guys, because I don't normally get on the high horse like this, but I just don't get it. What they release into our world, they cannot control. I just don't understand it. We have so many things in our world that we can't control. And every one of them is hidden. It's the big bad secret. Nobody's supposed to know about it because there's no way to control it. Same thing with the Sasquatch. They're never going to be able to control them. But the thing of it is there's good and bad in our people. And there's good and bad in the Sasquatch people. They are not monsters. They are not Nephilim. And they are incredible. They've saved my life before. They've saved other people's lives before. And just like with our own people, there are good and there are bad. It's that simple. But I tell you, I would go out in the woods any day of the week with 100 Sasquatch that I didn't know before I would ever go out in the woods with 100 people that were strangers of our people that I didn't know. I feel safer. And there was a situation recently that was very dangerous for me. Our people did nothing. And yet when the Sasquatch found out about it, they wanted to go after this person. And I'm like, not that that happened. I mean, they didn't do anything, and I would never allow it, and they're good and they're not going to do it. But, they guard me. I have guards from them. I don't see any of our people lined up doing that. They're not keeping me safe. When the government comes after me, there's nobody around, and it's so ridiculous. It's always important that people know that the bad ones are lethal. They really are. You're talking about a being that is a much higher frequency and much higher energy, which means it's almost like they're supercharged. So every emotion that they have is at such a higher level than what we have. So when they love, you hear people talk about they get love projected on them from the Sasquatch, and it brings them to tears. And it does. I don't know of anybody that's had it happen that can honestly say, yeah, I had the love pushed on me and not teared up. Because It's that emotional. It's that pure. They love with an intensity that we can't even comprehend. But with that comes the ones that hate. Just like we have people that hate, we get mad at them, but yet our people do worse. And our people behave worse. And our people are not all good either. And so when they hate, they are lethal. You're talking about something that can pick up a car and toss it across the football field. You're talking about something with paranormal abilities that can kick your ass. Some of the clans will not use the paranormal abilities, and that's fine. Others will. So it depends on which one you go up against as to how bad you're going to get it. But if they want you, there's no way to stop them, because they're just a much more powerful being than we are. But they also have more love and compassion than I've ever seen out of our humans.
Wow. Robin Haynes, we are coming to the close of our time mark on part 1 of this interview with you. And thank you so much again for joining us. But before we go, want to find out what you got coming up.
Well, I just got done with the Nebraska Bigfoot, so that one is done. And I have the Spruce Pine Alien and UFO Expo and Conference, which will be June 8th in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. I'm really excited to present there. I don't normally do the UFO and alien things. I work with the ETs. I mind speak with them. I've been abducted multiple times. I've had DNA taken. I've had implants done. I've had fetal implants done. So I'm very well versed in it. I have, photos of them as well as photos of UFOs that MUFON considered a class 1 sighting. In fact, my son-in-law took it from my home on my front porch, and MUFON used that at one of their national conferences. So that was kind of exciting. So I know the topic well, but I've just never really done it. So I'm very excited about it. And that's June 8th in Spruce Pine. And I'll be there. Christian McLeod will be there. He's going to be talking about Betty and Barney Hill, which is amazing. And Mark Parr is going to be there. Brooks Agnew with Flat Earth. So there's going to be a lot to offer there on top of the expo. So I really encourage people to come. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I have that. And right now I'm working with people all over the globe as far as with their encounters, helping them set up research sites, helping them understand the energy and the energy work, helping them deal with UFO encounters, helping them just pretty much anything paranormal I'm working with them on right now. So I work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because with the time difference with everybody, there's a lot of times I do sessions in the middle of the night, because of being out of the country. And it's like I'm on Dave Scott's show every Thursday night. and it's 2 a.m. for me. It's not for Dave, but it is me because of the time difference with Canada. So I'm a pretty busy girl, and I've got different research sites that I'm working on right now currently at different parks and national forests where I have different groups that I'm interacting with. So it's really been lovely because not only do I get to interact with them through mind speak and in the astral realm, I get to interact with them in the physical world as well. So it's a good time for me. Very, very happy girl right now.
So the website is paranormal-empowerment.com.
Yes.
Robin Haynes, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to join us for part 2. When we pick up with Robin, we're going to be CERN, we're going to be talking Patterson-Gimlin, and all kinds of other stuff with different cryptids. So for myself, Daniel Becker, CWR team member in Anchorage, Alaska, and my co-host, Matt Slater in Quincy, Washington.
Hello.
Make sure you join us next time.
Take care, everybody, and thanks for coming.